Hello everyone and welcome to this third episode of the Revit WPF series. So in the first one we took a look at how to create external commands, and the second one was about the Revit API, and we created a simple command that you saw in the previous episode. And today we're going to talk about the external applications. So in the last two episodes, we managed to create a command that we can find in the external applications, which is in the add-ins tab. All right. But today we're gonna try to create the following. We're going to create our own tab. All right, in which we're gonna see our panel. We might have different panels in here. All right, and every single panel has different buttons within it, maybe just one button, two or more. And in today's episode, we're gonna take a look at how to create like regular buttons, as you can see these two in here. We're gonna take a look at how to create stacked buttons. So you can see this one is on top of this one. We might also put three of them, for example, in here. And we're going to take a look also at the split button. So we can see this one, and if you click on this one, you're going to get a picture like this. All right, so you're going to find two buttons within a drop-down menu. All right, and also we're going to take a look at how to add these separators. So just to take a look at our roadmap for today's one, as I said, we're going to take a look at the structure of the IExternal application. We're going to set up the manifest.addin file. If you remember from the the external command, we also had an manifest.addin file. So in this one also, but for this one is going to be slightly a difference. Then we're gonna set up the post build event command line. We also did this in the previous episodes. And then we're gonna start coding by adding a tab first. So the tab is this one, all right. And then we're gonna add a panel, and then we're gonna create push button data. And then we're gonna see how to use this push button data to create different things for our buttons. And at the end, we're going to take a look at how to create these separators that you can see in here, and also tooltips. So when you hover over your command or your button, you're going to see a tooltip. So we're going to see that at the end. So let's jump into it now. So I'm just going to open my Visual Studio, and we're gonna continue with the thing that we already started. So this is where we left off last time. All right, so last time we had this command, this IExternal command that created or placed an instance, and I think it was maybe something like a door. Yeah, it was a door. All right, and also we have this manifest.addin that with a type of command. All right, so let's start first of all by adding a new class in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to add and create a new class, and I'm going to call this one, I'm going to call it app. All right, and I'm gonna press add. Great. And this application is going to inherit, or is going to implement, sorry, from the IExternal application. And of course we don't have this, so we need to import or to use that. Go into, so you can see here, using autodesk.revit.ui. And now we need to implement this interface. So I'm gonna click on here, and you can see it's given me the on shutdown and on startup. So whenever we start Revit, this is going to be fired up. I like putting this on the top of the other one. All right, and in here I'm just going to remove this one and type return result dot succeed semicolon, and in here I'm going to say return result dot failed. All right, and the semicolon, of course. All right, and in here we can start writing our code. All right, so before doing that, in the roadmap, as I said, we need to set up the manifest.addin file. So I need to go in here, and this time we need it to be an application. So I'm gonna type application, and the assembly is gonna stay the same because we have the namespace did not change. I think I'm going to generate a new GUID. So I'm going to generate a new one and copy that and throw it in here. And let's remove the stuff around it. So let's leave it just like this. All right. And also we gonna reference the class name, which is app. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in here app. All right. So a text, we can type that this is just external application. All right, so I'm gonna leave everything as it is, and the important thing is to hit save. All right, now let's close this one. Next, we are going to set up the post build event command line, and it is already set up except for something. So we're gonna go to the properties, build events, and I'm gonna edit this. So it is already set up. It is already looking for the direction and copying my my files with .addin and also my files with .dll to the target directory. And the only thing that I want to add is at the end we are going to have some images, as you can see in here. So I want also those images to be copied to the add-ins folder. All right, so this one, instead of DLL, my images are .png, but there is one thing that I want to tell you about. Or first of all, let me write it first. So I'm just gonna say bin slash debug, and then slash or backslash asterisk.png. So this asterisk is saying all files within this directory with the extension of png, just copy them all. All right, so I'm gonna save, and I'm going to tell you what is this. So in the build event, you can see that the output path, the path in which when I'm going to build my application, when it's ready, when I build my solution, sorry, my DLL folders, all files and PNGs and all of that are gonna be in here. So I'm going to look in there for my oh, sorry, I made a mistake in here. So this is already the the output path, so I don't need to say this. Instead, I'm going to reference the folder in which I'm going to put my images, and I'm going to call it IMG. You can call it whatever you want. So the output the output path, sorry, is bin backward slash or backslash debug, and then in there I'm going to have this folder img in which I'm going to have my images. All right, so you can call it wherever you want. I'm just going to call mine img, and my pictures or my images are all png, so I'm just gonna write .png. I hope this is clear. All right, so I'm coming to you from the future. After finishing recording and when I started editing, I thought that it was a bit ambiguous what I did right there. So I'm going to explain to you what happened exactly. So here I am inside my folder in which I have my solution and all the rest are of the folders. And you can see in here that I have a folder called bin. Inside this bin we have a folder called debug, and in here everything, when you hit build, everything that you did is going to be built into a DLL. All right, so in here we have everything that we did when we were coding, and also you can find the folder called img. All right, so the folder that I'm going to create a bit later in this video is going to be called img, is going to be inside this folder. So let's continue. Great, so I'm just gonna save, all right, and close this one, and we are done with this. Let's go back in here. So yeah, we are done with this, and now we are going to start adding the tab. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is, let me write a comment, create a tab. So to do this, I'm going to say string, and I'm going to say that this is the tab name, and I'm going to call this Star Wars tab. You can call it whatever you want. And next I'm just going to say application, which is this one, dot create, and it's recommending three things. I want to create a ribbon tab, so I'm going to click enter on this, and here I'm going, as you can see in here, it takes a string tab name, so this one. All right, so I'm just gonna type in there the tab name. All right, so we have created our tab. Now let's go to create a panel. All right, so I'm going to say in here, I'm going to add a comment, create a panel. So, and to do this, I'm going to type ribbon panel. If you don't know which type is this one, as I said before, just type var, and then I'm going to call this my demo panel. Sorry, so my demo panel. And in here I'm going to say again application dot ribbon dot create ribbon panel. Sorry. So here, yeah. So let me start just writing that. Yeah, this is it. So create a ribbon panel, and you can see in here we need a panel name. So, or wait a minute, we have three methods in here. So we have just the panel name or the panel name and also the tab name. All right, so I think I'm gonna be using this one, create the tab name, using the tab name also. So I'm gonna first of all reference that. So this is the tab name, and then I'm going to add my panel's name, and I'm gonna call it Star Wars panel. All right, and now we're gonna start creating our buttons. So let me write another comment, create let's say push button data, and in here, so as I said before, I just write var if you don't know what is it, but now we know that this is a ribbon panel. You can see in here, yeah. So I'm just gonna type in there ribbon panel. There you go. Great. So now let's start creating the push button data, and I'm going to, as you saw in here, I'm going to be creating many buttons. So I'm just going to call the first one btn data 1, and this is equal to a new instance of the push button data, and this takes the name of the button, and then the text. This text is the this that is going to appear under the icon. All right. So yeah, the first name is going to be just btn1, and then I'm going to call the second one. The second argument, sorry, is the text. So I'm going to call this btn1, and then we need the assembly name. To get the assembly name, I'm going to do this somewhere in here before everything. So to get that, this is first of all a string, and I'm going to call this the assemb name. And to get this, I'm just going to say assembly and dot, dot. So this is not, yeah, so we need to click on this using system.reflection. All right, so now we can reference that. So get assembly, which one is it? So yeah, so get the executing assembly. So it gets us what is the assembly that is executing when the code is running. All right. So to get the name, I'm going to type location, and it's gonna get me the whole path. All right. So I'm going to use this one in here. And the third argument is the class name. Which class, when I click this button, which class I want it to run. All right. So we do have in here this class called place instance. So I'm gonna use that. So this should be a string, and we going to say my Revit. Here should be capital. So my Revit add-in, which is the namespace, dot place instance. Yes. All right. So this is the class that I wanted to run whenever I click on this button 1. All right. So you start with the namespace and then the name of the class. All right. So this is our first push data. So what can we do with this? Now, using this, I can create the icon that is going to appear in here. Okay. So I'm gonna say btn data 1 dot, and we have, as you can see in here, two sizes. We have this size and we have this size. This size is 32 by 32, and this one is 16 by 16. All right. So this one is a large image, and this one is just image. Let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm just gonna say large image. Let's go back. So large image. I think I wrote that. Okay, so let's go back. Just hit this and type large image. There you go. Okay, so this is a new instance of bitmap bitmap image, and we need to import this as well. So generate yes, yeah, so it adds this using system.windows.media.imaging. all right, and this is just to create a format for computer graphics. So we're going, so this is the way you create an icon on your command or on your button. all right, and if you hover over this one, let me go back like this, and you can see that it takes a URI. all right, so which image do you want to use? So first of all, before doing that, I just want to create a folder in here. So I'm gonna click on here and add a new folder, and as I said before, I'm going to call it IMG. all right, so this is my folder to which I'm going to add images. I'm just going to grab everything in here except for this one and just drag them and drop them over here. all right, so these are my images, and you want to select them all and go in here to properties, and in here copy to output directory. You want to change this one to copy if newer. all right, so this is important. If you don't do this, when your code starts running, it's going to throw an error and tells you that we cannot find these images. So you should do this, and then once they are in our output path, as I said before, we wrote in our properties in here, if you remember, that we want them copied to this folder, Revit add-ins, and then the version of your Revit. all right, great. So let's go back to our application now. Now that we have those pictures, we need to create a URI in here that shows the way to your specific image. So let me show you that. So this is again a string. I'm going to write it in here, and I'm going to call this path. You can call it assembly path, for example. I'm just going to call it path. So this is the class name. We need to get the directory name of this assembly. all right, so just gonna type in there, or I'm gonna add in there the assembly name. Great. all right, so just to show you in here, what is this? So look, for example, I have this image. If I go in here, it's showing me that it's showing me the path in which I'm having these images. So this line that we have in here is showing us the path to the assembly that is going to run whenever we start our application. all right, so I hope this is clear. And now we need to reference the image because we have the path without the image. So we have the path to the folder, and then we need to add the name of the image at the end. all right, so to do that, I'm just gonna type in here path, which is what we had just now, and then I'm going to add at double quotes, and in here I'm going to say backslash which picture I wanted to appear on my BTN1. So I'm going to take this one. I'm just gonna copy the name of this one. So just Control C, Control V in here, and it is ready. As I said, this is a large image, and I told you that I'm using two sizes, so 32 by 32 and 16 by 16. So I have here two types of images, so to say. all right, so here it's telling me that there is some kind of mistake. let's take a look. Yeah, so I forgot to add parentheses at the end. All right, so now it is good to go. So this is how to use the button data. So you can add large images. Okay, what about these small ones? Because in these small ones, if you add a large image, it's going to appear, it's going to take this large image and put it here, but the space is just like this. So it's gonna appear like just a small, like just the eye of this image. All right. So instead of using that for small images, we're gonna use, instead of large image, I'm gonna be using like btn1.image, just image. All right, but the rest is exactly the same. It's just going to be the same as this one. So basically, I have them ready. So I'm just gonna be copying them over here. So let's just copy paste everything. So I'm gonna be copying all of them like so, and put it here. Let me remove this one. And I'm going to be referencing the same class. Of course, in real life, you're gonna have different classes for different buttons, but just for the sake of showing you this, I'm just gonna be referencing the exact same class, and this is okay. All right, so now they are ready. So I have all the buttons and all the images set. All right, so what's next? The next thing we want to do is, so far, let me just show you here. So far we have created the buttons with the images and all of that, but we didn't create, we did not create this stacks, we did not create any of that, we did not add them to the panel. They are just floating in our Visual Studio. All right, so let's add, first of all, some buttons to the panel. All right, so I'm gonna be first of all saying demo panel, which is the name of my panel variable. So demo panel, all right, dot add item. What is happening? So add item, and I'm gonna be adding the first one. So I'm gonna say btn btn1 data. All right, and now it is added to the panel. All right, I'm not gonna start, by the way, because it takes too much time to start and then come back in here. So I'm just doing everything, and at the end we're gonna start Revit to see our changes. All right, so this is why I'm showing you the pictures in here, just to avoid this waste of time. All right, so we have added the first one, and using the same method we can add the second one as well. So just gonna change the name of the button data. All right, and after them, as you can see in here, I added a separator. So to do that, I'm just gonna say demo panel dot add separator, as you can see in here. All right, and this is a method without any arguments, of course. All right, so we did this first part. Now let's go to the second part, which is our stacked buttons, and see how can we do that. So it is so simple. I'm just gonna say again, demo panel. It's always the same panel that I'm adding to. All right, and in here you can see that I have add stacked items, and in here I'm going to add, what are the stacked items? I'm going to be adding this btn3 data and also btn4 data. All right, so far I have used 4 buttons. Here I have 6. I have 6 of them. All right, and I have used so far 4 of them. So we have created this separator, these, and also now I'm going to create another separator. So I'm just going to copy this over. And great, now the last thing, we're going to create this structure in here. And this is called split button. All right, so I'm going to hit enter one more time and say split button data is equal to SB1 or SB data, you can call it whatever you want. And in here I'm gonna say split button data, and in here, as you can see, it takes a name and also the text where it's going to appear in there. So I'm just gonna say split button, let's call it 1, and in here let's say split, just like so. All right, and now we're gonna create this split button. I'm gonna call it SB, and I'm going to say demo panel. All right, dot add item, and I'm going to be adding the, instead of adding like in here adding buttons, I'm going to add, or adding the button data, sorry. Here I'm going to add the split button data. All right, so I'm gonna type SB1. Great, and next I'm gonna be adding things to my SB. So I'm going to say SB dot add push button, like so. And here I'm going to add, I have the 5th and the 6th not used so far, so I'm gonna be adding the btn 5, and I'm going to add also one more to that, which is the 6th. All right, and here if you hover over this one, it is saying so let's take a look at what is the problem in here. So cannot implicitly convert type ribbon item. So this is a ribbon item. If I hover over this one, or this one, sorry, it's a ribbon item. So I need to simply say split button. So we need just to cast it as a split button in order for us to use it this way as we did in here. All right, so this is it. We have created all of them. We have created the 2 buttons that appear in here. If you click on this one, it's going to appear in here. If you click on this one, it's going to be appearing in here. And hopefully I have referenced all the right pictures, I hope. Let me just check for a second. Yeah, so we have referenced all the right pictures, and I think we are ready to go. Or before that, we had another thing that I wanted to talk about. So we had all these, we had separators. I'm just gonna add a tooltip before we start our Revit. So this is super easy. There's nothing difficult in all things we did so far, I hope. So just in here, I'm gonna be add tool tips, or just one tooltip. So I'm going to add it to just one button. All right, so I'm gonna be using the first one, and again referencing the btn1 data, and I'm gonna say dot. If you scroll down, you're gonna find the tooltip. There you go. So this is the one, and this equals to the text that you want to be appearing on your tooltip. All right, so let me just type this is a tool tip. All right, nothing fancy. And also there is something we can add. So we're gonna add a tooltip image. You remember when hovering over some buttons in Revit, you can see the tooltip with a description text, and then you can see an image below the text. So we can do that by adding a tooltip image, and this one, and this one is going to be, as we did in here, we need to create a new bitmap image, a new bitmap image that also does the same thing. It takes the URI of the specific image. So I'm going to say the same thing. So we need the path plus what is the image that I'm going to be referencing. So in my case, it is this one. I'm just gonna be copying this over here. All right, so we have added the image hopefully successfully. So as you can see, creating the push button data, you can use it to add large images which are 16 by 16. You can use them to add them to the panel, to add them to the stacked items, to add them to the split button, and then add the split button to the panel as well. You can add tooltips to them. So there you go. Great. I think we are ready to go, and I'm just gonna save. I'm gonna save everything, and we have hopefully wrote that this is an application, and great. So let's start. All right, so it took a while. Let's go to our tab. So this is the tab we have created, and this is our panel, and we have all the buttons in here appearing. All right, so and if we hover over this one, there you go, we have the text, as you can see, and then in a second we have a picture appearing. All right, so this is the tooltip text. So first of all, the name of the button appears, or the text of the button, and then the tooltip text, and then the image, as you can see. Great. But just to tell you this, I moved these lines, the tooltip, under the button data. All right. So I hope this was useful, and today's video was too long. And in the next one, finally, we're gonna start up with WPF. So see you in the next one.